I'll make it. Okay, so we are going live. I'll make it as smooth as you can. You guys get out whenever you want. Just a quick saying hello and stuff.
Can you tell how many people sign up?
Yeah. Okay, good. So I can't see it here for another 2 minutes, so it doesn't count it down and stuff, which makes me nervous. Just a quick saying hello and stuff.
Can you tell how many people sign up?
Yeah. Okay, good. So I just trying to get the right camera. 2 minutes, so it doesn't count it down and stuff, which makes me nervous.
Record it?
Just a quick saying hello and stuff.
Can you tell how many people sign up?
Yeah. Good. So I just see it for 2 minutes, so it doesn't count it down and stuff. Good afternoon, Bear Tavern families. This is Mr. Turnbull with our second Bear Tavern Read Aloud. And today we've got some great books for you. We've also got some very special guests that we want to introduce and say hello. So all the way from the central office hanging out with us today, we have Dr. Smith.
Hello, everyone.
And we have Mr. Suzo.
Hello, everyone.
Now, they're big fans of good books, so we figured that we would invite them to hang out with us. And last time we made mention of, we read some really great books. We read
Good afternoon, Bear Tavern family.
Rosie Revere, Engineer.
With our second Bear Tavern Read.
And we read What Do You Do With an Idea? And they were both books that talked about not giving up and believing in your ideas and believing in yourself. So we wanted to go a little bit, continue with that theme today, but also talk about school starting up and some different ideas. And we had made mention last time we wanted to read Lego Man in Space. So I was able to get my hands on it, and we're going to have some fun with that. We even have a little Lego Man joining us today. So we're going to talk about what we can do when we really try and when we use our imagination. And one big upgrade from today is going to be that we have, and you can't see it because it's finally working, our IPVO camera, which lets us zoom up and down a little bit and be a little more mobile, so you'll be able to see the pictures way better than we did last time. So we are getting better every single time, and that's what it's all about. So remember, as we read today, there's two ways that we can join in. And one of the important things is to work together and to communicate. So not only can you email me, and remember my email address, it's embedded in the newsletter that this is in, but it's Christopher Turnbull at hvrsd.org. And just try to, if you do email, use the subject line so that way we can see them really easily. But I'll have my email opened up while we're going, and we'll also be on Twitter using the hashtag BTReadAloud. And if you do tweet something with that hashtag BTReadAloud, then we'll be able to see it and hopefully be able to answer some questions and work together as we go. And we will work to keep this a little bit short, which will be great, and have a lot of fun. Remember also tonight, which is August 26th, our back countdown to school playground meet and greet will be for 4th and 5th graders from 6 to 7 p.m. Uncle Ed's Ice Cream will be in the cafeteria. And remember, if you're watching the recording, don't worry about it. Only if it's August 26th should you come. But let's get to reading Lego Man in Space. And it's a true story written and illustrated by Mara Shaughnessy. Lego Man in Space. Keep in mind, it really is a true story. And the camera will zoom in a minute. It'll focus nicely. And I'm going to put it on the autofocus mode. There we go. Lego Man in Space. And it does say, warning, no unauthorized entry beyond this point, and is dedicated to Mum. And says, thanks to Matt and Assad for being an inspiration to me and many others. To all my love, to Jen and Francis. So we have a woman, and she's saying, how did you get in here? You're not allowed to be in here. Launching Lego Man in Space is the work of highly trained and very important adults. No children allowed. And it's from the National Lego Nautics and Space Exploration Facilities. And we'll work together to get the zoom just right. I'm going to go with the autofocus mode. There we go. And some of our fancy grown-ups are Nadia Skipraka. She's an astrophysicist. Farak Filsden, who's the director of mission control, and Kevlin Winklebottom, who's an aerospace engineer. Why are you still here? Go away. Can't you see we're all very busy with the launch of a Lego Man in space? Excuse me. And remember, what I like about this book is it uses speech bubbles, because a lot of times using speech is a great way to write, whether we use quotation marks or speech bubbles. Down here, when you zoom in very close, you see the Lego Man. Grown-ups didn't send a Lego Man into space. That's not how it happened at all. I should know. I'm Lego Man in Space. Can you guess how I got into space? In a rocket ship? No. A giant slingshot? Hardly. A catapult? Caught a ride with a Martian? Nope. Shot out of a cannon? Kaboom! Nuh-uh. A pogo stick? Now you're just being ridiculous. It all started here, in this school hallway, with two kids who are just like you, Matt and Assad, and their brilliant idea. Matt and Assad made a list of things they would need to send me into space. Styrofoam for building the ship, a weather balloon, helium to make the weather balloon float, rope to tie the balloon to the spaceship, tape to hold the spaceship together, a cell phone with GPS to help find the spaceship once it lands, cameras to take pictures and video of the voyage, and hand warming packets to keep the camera and cell phone from freezing. And Lego, of course. With their materials, they built a spaceship that looked like this. It just looks like a box to me with some cameras. They sewed a parachute to bring me back to Earth safely. And remember, as we go, if you do have comments, feel free to email at Christopher Turnbull at hvrsd.org or tweet with that hashtag BTReadAloud. Matt and Assad filled the ship's giant balloon with helium. They waited for just the right moment for my space launch. 3, 2, 1, liftoff. Up and up I went. I soared above the roofs of the houses, above the treetops, up into the sky, above the clouds, and up into space. I saw the stars and the moon and felt the sun's very bright rays on my face. But the higher I went, the colder it got. It got so cold that my balloon burst. I went tumbling down, down, down. Luckily, my space parachute opened, and I floated safely back to Earth. When Matt and Assad came to find me, they felt very proud of what they had done. I'm proud too. 2 kids plus 1 idea made me the Lego man in space. Did you know that the balloon that took me into space was as wide as a school bus and had enough helium inside to fill 600 party balloons? Did you want to see how high the balloon took me? And again, this book is great because the pictures are so good, and I'm glad our camera's working better. So it really was about as wide as a school bus. But if we look at the picture, and after the read aloud, what we'll do is we'll post some of the pictures back into the newsletter so you'll be able to see them right below. And you can rewatch the read aloud anytime so that you can compare. But the balloon went 15 miles into space. So birds, they fly at about 492 feet. Mount Everest is about 5.5 miles high. So this went almost 3 times as high as Mount Everest. And an airplane travels about 6 miles high in the air. So it even went twice as high as an airplane flies. Meteors fly about 40 miles, a space shuttle about 250 miles, and the moon is 238,855 miles. So while it still had a long, long, long way to go till it got to the sun, this went 15 miles, and the sun is 92,955,888 miles away. So it's a pretty neat picture, though, to show you how high it went, but how long there still is out there in space. So we're not going to read word for word the remainder piece where it says, do you want to build a balloon-powered rocket ship for your own Lego man in space? I would recommend making a smaller one so that it doesn't go too far from Bear Tavern into space, but this is some neat directions, and again, we'll post them onto the newsletter for how you can make a smaller one and blast off an indoor Lego man in space. And you can even make your own parachute, but this just tells you what you'll need: a milk carton, a straw, some string, some balloons, tape, scissors, glue, markers, aluminum foil, tissue paper, buttons, and other odds and ends just for decorating. But essentially, you make your ship and put it onto the balloon and see if you can follow on the picture. And then we'll let you try it later on once we post the exact directions. And you can also make a parachute by just using a string or thread, a plastic shopping bag, and some tape. And we're going to post these directions as well. Pretty simple stuff. And if we go to the certain website, there is an actual Lego Man in Space website, we will give you some different photos And these are actually real-life photos. It says, do you want to see photos from my real-life voyage into space? You can also see the video online. Check it out at the link below. And we're going to post it. And some of the pictures say, everything looks so small from up here, soaring above the clouds. Look, it's the moon. You can actually see the moon from the Lego Man spaceship. My view of the planet Earth. So we have some other fun activities as well, and that's why I love this book, because there's so much about it. But if you want to draw your own Lego Man, all you need are 3 simple shapes. And like I said, I'm getting some help today from a Lego Man. But we've got some different writing activities that we can share with you, and some different drawing ones, some phys ed games. And I know we have some people around Bear Tavern that would love that, and a math problem. So this book is one of my favorites. There's a lot of links to online resources and even some other activities. So we hope you like Lego Man in Space. And the reason that I think it's an awesome book is not only are Lego Men pretty cool, and space is pretty interesting because there's so much that we don't know, but one of the most exciting pieces of it is that it really did start in a school hallway with 2 kids who had a great idea. So they wanted to make sure that they tried their best to create something that was going to go way deep into space. And even though I think they thought it might go even a little further, it's still amazing that they worked hard and tried it and were able to recover and get some of those great pictures. So right now I'm going to close my office door and remind everybody to send an email, even if it's going well and you can see, send me an email saying that it's going well, because when I'm on the computer, I can't see what everyone else is doing. So we can do our hashtag, BT Read Aloud, or send me that email at Christopher Turnbull at hvrsd.org. So we are working hard at that. I'm going to close my door. And we're going to try to check on our Twitter feed really quickly, but I'm having to enter my password back in. We're going to search for hashtag yes. Okay, great. So we're checking on those tweets and emails. But in the meantime, we're going to get ready for our second book, and I hope that you are ready. Our second book. One of the things that I love about reading is the fact that you get to talk about it. And you can share what you like about books. You can also share great ideas about books to read. So I just happened to be talking to my friend, Miss Smolbauer, and I think you guys know what she knows a lot about. And she was telling me about some different books that she loved. And we actually went through about 6 books that would be great for today's Read Aloud. But one of the ones that we settled on that I really, really liked, and I think it's good for all ages, is Sea Monster's First Day. And I think what makes this a good one, and I want to point out that I got this from the Bear Tavern Library, what makes it so special and what makes it such a good book for me is that I am starting my first day at Bear Tavern soon. Give me a connection sign at home if you're starting your first day as well. So we're going to get started in a moment. And this is another one. And Kate Messner. This is an important thing, too, when we talk about connections. So the author of this book is Kate Messner. And when I was at a different school, I was able to Skype with Kate Messner. She is a really, really great writer. She writes a lot of really good things and talks all about the writing process. How sometimes you get stuck and you have to keep trying. But The pictures in this one are really, really cool, and there's a lot of detail. I want to show you the first pages. It's a map, and it says Lake Ernestamuk. But there's a lot of different pieces of the lake that are really cool. So we're going to see if we can really enjoy some of these pictures, and I hope we can. So remember, keep those emails coming if you can see and if you're enjoying the read aloud. And we're following a few. It looks like we are live and doing well. This is it, my mother said. You're a big sea monster now, Ernest. Remember to introduce yourself, play nicely, and to use your imagination. I'm sure you'll have lots of fun. This is a big book, so I have to zoom out a little bit. Sea Monsters, First Day, by Kate Messner and illustrated by Andy Rash. I left little Nessie in my new cubby and set off to make some new friends. Looks like there's all different kinds of fish. And some of the rules, it looks like, are keep your flippers to yourself. Don't eat the minnows. No blowing bubbles. No pinching, and that's for the crayfish. And play fair. Now, I'd argue that those are some pretty reasonable rules. I tried joining the games, but something always went wrong. Let's see what game you think see if you can tell me what game they're playing. They're playing Marco Polo, and we have some of the fish with closed eyes yelling Marco, and others playing polo. And I'm not sure if kids play that as much as they did when I was a kid, but that used to always be fun. But they're playing Marco Polo, and Ernest says, "Polo!" and splashes everybody all around. So that didn't go as well. At the playground, there was no room for me on the jungle gym. And when I asked for a turn on the swings, everybody swam away. He looks pretty big for those swings. I tried introducing myself like Mom said. "Hello, my name is Ernest." It felt like everybody was already part of a group. And it said private school perch only, and they're all swimming in one direction. Private school smelt only, and they're all swimming in another direction. So Ernest didn't have any friends that first day. Some of the largemouth bass shouted loud, mean things. "You're extinct." "I don't stink." "No, he said you're extinct. Your mother's a brachiosaurus." The smallmouth bass just whispered behind my back. I'm gonna let that zoom in for a second because it's there we go. He's so prehistoric. And right now we're just getting into, but there were still plenty of things to do and learn. We read stories. One fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish. Give me a connection sign if you've ever heard that one before. And we sang songs. Old MacDonald had a lake, E-I-E-I-O. And in this lake he had some trout, E-I-E-I-O. With a blub blub here and a blub blub there, E-I-E-I-O. We took historical field trips. And that is something that's a really fun part about school. I'll try to reduce this glare. There we go. And remember, it's historical because he's going to an old shipwreck. And sampled some tasty aquatic plants. A touch of algae would go well with this. Great. After snack time, I played tug of war with the fishermen. They kept calling me the big one that got away. And I can't imagine a boat trying to catch a giant sea monster like Ernest. Finally, at lunch, I spotted some fish that looked a little like me. I decided it was worth a try. Hello, my name is Ernest. Mind if I join you? We hit it off right away. They said they were sturgeon, the biggest fish in the lake. Well, we used to be anyway. We spent the whole lunch hour together, trading goodies. Try this leech with insect larvae on top. You'll absolutely love it. Here's one. They told jokes. Here's one. Which fish are the smartest? The ones who swim in schools. No, seriously. Which fish are the brightest in the lake? Sunfish. Get it? The brightest? And playing games. Somehow, I always lost at hide and seek. Gotcha again. And that's pretty funny. As we were making up games along the shore, I spotted a familiar shape shining in the afternoon sun. A creature with strong curves, scales like mine, and a roar that shook the sky. Hello, my name is Ernest. What's your name? Never mind. But that gave me an idea. And he found the Riding the Diving Dragon roller coaster. And these people are screaming, ah! And that's at the Lakeview amusement park. With a little imagination and my new friends, this new school was working out just fine. And we see a good connection to the roller coaster at the amusement park and at Ernest when he starts to let people ride on him. At the end of the day, little Nessie was right there waiting for me, and so was Mom. I couldn't wait to tell her about my day and my plans for tomorrow. The end. And this has some great pictures within the book of some of his different relatives. Aunt Memphis in Lake Memphremagh, USA. Uncle Nessie in Loch Ness, Scotland. Grandpa Champ in Lake Champlain, USA. And it goes on and on. So there's some really great pictures in this book and talking all about lakes. But this was a great one because not only were there some funny pictures and whatnot, but more importantly, Ernest found some different ways. He didn't get discouraged when things weren't going his way. So he decided to try some different things out, and he had a great day. So we do have one bonus book for you. And again, it was one that Ms. Mulbauer really recommended. And we talked about this earlier, but one of the best things about reading, not only does it make you think, and we talked before about how important thinking and exercising your brain throughout the summer both are, but this book talks a lot about different perspectives and points of view, and it's really easy. I think every single person is going to be able to help me read it. So let me just grab it for one moment, and we'll keep talking as we do. So again, it's a very good book, and I just have to grab it off the shelf because I wasn't sure if we were going to have enough time, and I am very, very excited that we do have some time. So I am grabbing the last book of our Read Aloud right now, and it's right behind me, I believe. And I'm a little disappointed. Right now, my Twitter is not coming through. So I'm not sure how many people are seeing or being able to tweet on that hashtag. But please send me an email if it's working out for you so I can see. And if you have any questions or comments, just send them in that email, and I'll try to read them over the over the reading. But our last book, and it's a simple one, but it's a great one, and it's just mostly for fun. It's called Aha! And that's a simple one, but it shows you a lot. It shows you, first, how when you use some different punctuation and some different inflection, how different words can be. But it also shows you about point of view. Sometimes it just depends how you look at something, whether it's good or bad or exciting or scary or anything like that. So let's get it started. And we'll go from there. Ah. Aha. Ah. Aha. So as you're seeing, I think you start seeing a pattern, but recognize who's saying what. And let's see how this one ends up. So dog says, aha. Ah. Aha. It looks like he escaped. Aha. It was a turtle that he was sitting on, not a rock. So the turtle thinks he has him. Ah! Aha! Uh-oh. Doesn't look like that was a log after all. Aha! Ah! Aha! Now we're going to go really wide end for this one. Aha! And notice that we're only saying two words the whole time, but each time they're different. Ah! Ah! Aha! 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 So we have three different things that want to eat the frog. And the frog jumps into the jar. Aha! And look at these guys' faces as the frog says, ha ha! And as the boy's walking by, frog gets the lid off and says, aha! Ah. So we just read a whole book that had two words in it, ladies and gentlemen. But again, it was a lot of fun. And that's a silly one. That's not a very serious book. But there are a lot of different kinds of books out there. And we can read books that are nonfiction that help us learn about specific people and specific places. But there's also sometimes some fiction books that are silly or that have great pictures. So it doesn't matter what you read as long as we keep reading. But I just want to say I am very, very excited to start the 2015-2016 school year at Bear Tavern. We've had a chance to meet with a lot of the staff and a lot of the families over the last few weeks, and it's going to be a really fantastic year. If you need anything at all, please reach out to me. But continue to read, continue to think, and we'll see you on the first day of school. Thank you, and have a wonderful afternoon.